Well, good morning, everybody. Really great to be here. Really a big day for Nebraskans. I'm joined here today with Attorney General Mike Hilgers and Director of Health and Human Services Steve Coursey. It's really simple. We're taking a very bold step in Nebraska to enhance creating our culture of life and love. Some will say, what on earth does this mean? Well, it's really simple. Simply recognition of all human life that has value and requires our protection at every single stage. Today we're taking action that will protect the unborn and expectant mothers because that's who we are in Nebraska in our culture of life and love. We are grounded on faith, family, freedom, life, and love in the pursuit of unending happiness. We as taxpayers should not be funding abortion services, period, pure and simple. That's why I'm signing an executive order today directing the Department of Health and Human Services to immediately review whether abortion providers terminated from Medicaid in other states, like South Carolina, that are still participating in our program. And let me be clear, they should not be. So federal law and Nebraska law and regulations are crystal clear. If a provider is kicked out of Medicaid anywhere in the country, they don't get to come here and keep taking Nebraska taxpayer dollars. That's the kind of reciprocity we work with in Nebraska. That's program integrity, and that's exactly what this order enforces. Under this executive order, any provider, including abortion clinics, terminated from another state's Medicaid program will have their enrollment terminated here in Nebraska. Nebraska stands proudly as a pro-life state. We've enshrined protections for the unborn in our Constitution, and we're not going to let abortion providers skirt accountability while claiming our money. That's the culture of life and love we're building together here in Nebraska. Before I invite Attorney General Hilgers up to the podium, I want to stress Nebraska has ample resources for women who need health care services. There's 12 clinics across Omaha that have providing levels of service for young women in need, and there's another 4 here in the city of Lincoln, and we have extraordinary services across the great state of Nebraska. I think it's really important. CEO Steve Coursey from the Department of Health and Human Services here can attest to the numerous places, the resources available through his agency's website. So I also, his website includes information specifically to support healthy pregnancies even after deliveries. Really proud of Attorney General Hilgers and his team's work. Mike, thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Today is a really good day. It's a great day for Nebraska families. It's a great day for Nebraska taxpayers. And most importantly, it's a great day for Nebraska unborn babies. Today is a culmination of years of work to ensure that Nebraska taxpayers no longer have their tax dollars going to fund abortions in the state of Nebraska. It's a fight that has gone on even from my time in the legislature when we first got Title X funds. We stopped Title X funds from going to abortion providers, and now, thanks to Governor Pillen's leadership, we have finally gotten to a place where taxpayer funds will no longer support abortions. And before I go into some of my comments, I just want to thank Governor Pillen and his team. Governor Pillen has been absolutely a rock on so many issues, but this issue in particular. You've spoken so well about families, about protecting babies, about fighting for babies, about moms, and we couldn't have done it without your leadership, Governor. So thank you very much. You and your team have been outstanding. I just want to give you a little bit of a legal background. It's actually, there's a lot to say. I won't bore you with all of the legal details, but I think some of it does also dictate a little bit on the timing. So I just want to kind of give you a little background, and then we can take your questions. So this has been an issue that's been in the background for a long time for a lot of people. In fact, the prohibition or the desire of Nebraska taxpayers to not have their funds be used for abortions has been in state statutes for some time. But this year, a couple of things I think have happened to help make this a reality. Number one, earlier this year, the big beautiful bill was passed at the federal level. That had a very clear prohibition of federal funds, federal taxpayer dollars, from going to abortion. That was initially enjoined, but the First Circuit has actually held that to be the law of the land. So that was number one. Number two, the United States Supreme Court decided the Medina case earlier this month. That case just got resolved last month, and it dealt with a few technical issues of the law, these types of cases. But the bottom line of that case is that it it allowed South Carolina's prohibition of abortion providers, or exclusion of abortion providers from their Medicaid system, to give us really another prominent legal hook to enable us to be able to do the executive, or for the governor to do the executive order today. But by excluding an affiliate of the Planned Parenthood providers here in the state of Nebraska, now under the existing rules of DHHS, who is under CEO Corsi and his team, they are the responsible agency regulating Medicaid in the state of Nebraska. Under existing rules now, the legal basis, we thought that this has been there for some time, but we think over the events over the last month or two, it is quite clear that Nebraska can take the action that it is taking today. I do want to make one last point to piggyback a little bit off the governor's last statement, which is there's a whole host of high-quality providers in the state of Nebraska who have survived and are functioning without providing abortion services. And I would also emphasize, especially for Nebraskans who might not be following this issue that closely, to maybe that the Planned Parenthood providers, there's been a lot of public reporting on this, and I actually have to give a lot of credit to local and national reporters who have flagged really some of the most really egregious conditions that currently exist at some of the facilities in Nebraska. Really just abhorrent conditions that put, I think, women's lives at risk, and I think have no place in the state of Nebraska. And so this is about ensuring taxpayer dollars don't go to abortions, but it's also, I think, will help get women the care that they need at places that actually will protect and support their health versus maybe what they've been getting so far. So thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And I think maybe the last thing I want to say is I just could not be more proud of Nebraskans and so many Nebraska nonprofits that have stepped up in the last years, 10, 15 years, and developed extraordinary services for young moms to help them understand the culture of life and love, and to choose and to create a loving home for their baby, to get through untimely pregnancies and make it through. That's probably something in the early stages we did not do a very good job, and I'm really, really proud of the state of Nebraska and the people in Nebraska and all the work that's been done. Questions?
Let's have you sign the EO first.
Okay. This executive order number 25-16, protecting the life, health, and welfare of pregnant women and unborn human life. Congratulations, Nebraska. Congratulations, Mike. Entertain questions. Andrew.
I guess if this is already state law, why do you need the executive order today?
Well, the bottom line, what you're not understanding with that question, would be that Planned Parenthood provides abortion services, and we, the taxpayers of Nebraska, are paying for that. We're making an executive order to make sure we are not spending tax dollars for Planned Parenthood agency.
Governor, you want me to
Rooms.
jump on that one?
And thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Governor. So Andrew's question, I don't know if we got people online, I'll repeat it, but the Andrew's question is, if we have had state law in the past, why are we doing it today? It's a good question, Andrew. There are a number of bases that we could have done this in the past, but over the last 6 or 7 months, we've been tracking the South Carolina case. The idea that there could be, and by the way, Oklahoma now has done this too, but the idea that there could be, or actually it's been some time before that, but one of the most firm legal grounds to do the action that we're doing is if another state excludes a provider off of their Medicaid list, then it basically makes that particular entity or an affiliate of that particular entity blacklisted in the state of Nebraska under existing rules. When the South Carolina did what they did, it gave us a very clear and almost unassailable ground on which to do this. The real issue, though, has been this litigation that's been ongoing, and it had to go all the way to the United States Supreme Court. There were some issues around some, again, highly technical issues related to 1983 actions. I can bore you with later, but that case got decided in June, and that finally, the South Carolina action finally got resolved just a couple of weeks ago. So I think that there was a little bit of prudential concerns, but just waiting to see, hey, we've got this really strong legal basis. And now that it's come to fruition, I think, not that the others don't apply, but I think it's a very firm ground.
Abortion is just one part of what Planned Parenthood provides, but they would argue a very small portion of what they provide. Is there concern about cutting Medicaid to these clinics that do provide other forms of care to patients?
Yeah, we're talking about, look, we're cutting the state taxpayers' dollars to the Planned Parenthood clinics. There's one in Lincoln, one in Omaha. It's their privilege to operate how they see fit. We are not going to pay state tax dollars to clinics that provide abortion to women in Nebraska.
Can I add to that?
Go ahead.
Thanks, Governor. So, John, I appreciate you asking the question. Any of your viewers or listeners or readers, I would encourage everyone who's thinking about going to Planned Parenthood or thinks Planned Parenthood provides all these great services in this great environment that are not abortion related to just Google New York Times, Omaha Planned Parenthood. I think there's a Flatwater Free Press. The stories of the conditions of those particular facilities are something that you shouldn't see anywhere around the globe, to be quite honest. I think that puts women's health at risk. Certainly it puts, I think, their baby's health at risk. And so I just want to challenge the premise that Planned Parenthood is the only place or that somehow there's going to be like some significant deterioration of the services provided to women. I think we should have the highest quality of care at all of our facilities that provide care to women. And to be honest, according to that public reporting, that has not been the case, I think, locally. And so I think it's a good thing.
Following up on that, I mean, there have been many clinics across the country, Planned Parenthood clinics across the country that said they would have to shut down. They wouldn't be able to fund their clinics without Medicaid. Is this an attempt to get Planned Parenthood out of the state of Nebraska?
Well, since I'm at the podium, but there are a lot of, all I'll say is there are a lot of clinics who don't provide abortion services that operate. So what they do or don't do is really, up to them, but others are able to do it.
Yeah, I think the answer, John, is just simply it'll be their choice what to do. And again, our goal is to provide the greatest service for the women and young and babies we possibly can. Zach?
Governor, for any of the three of you, any idea how much in taxpayer funds we're talking about here?
That's an,
300,000, I think around 300, is that right?
yeah, I don't have that number. We could get it for you, Zach.
I see it.
Yes.
Governor, are you aware that the Lincoln Planned Parenthood office does not provide abortions?
Well, I think that every Planned Parenthood clinic has opportunities to provide abortion, and they do counseling to provide abortion and abortion services. So that still, if they're not providing an abortion specifically at that clinic, but sending women to go do others otherwise, it still counts the same in my mind. Yes.
And just to clarify, the EO doesn't mention Planned Parenthood, so it's about abortion providers. So if they don't, then it doesn't apply to them.
So how exactly are you going to track this?
What was your name?
Morgan.
Thanks, Morgan.
Repeat the question.
Oh, so the question was how exactly are we going to track this? Morgan, I would assume that, I would have to talk with our team, but I would assume that we're going to track this through claims, probably claims processes and claims that come in. We'll look at user data, not individual user data, but aggregate data. There are a number of ways that we can look at it statistically to ensure that women are taken care of appropriately.
I think as the governor of Nebraska, how I'm tracking it, there's not going to be a penny of Nebraska dollars tax dollars going to the Planned Parenthood clinics.
So it would be a cutoff of tax dollars to
Yes.
the clinics that provide those?
The Planned Parenthood clinics, period. Andrew?
You mentioned some of the other clinics that provide non-abortion services but help for pregnant women in Omaha. But it sounds like this state law, basically anytime a provider is taken off Medicare in another state, because if a state like California took one of those clinics offline, would they also then be, barred from receiving taxpayer funds?
I didn't. Yeah, so I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if the rule is mandatory. I think it's within the discretion of the DHH. So if an affiliate has been kicked off, I'm not so sure. I don't know, Andrew, 100% sure if it's mandatory or just within the discretion of DHHS. Do you happen to know?
And Andrew, I assume you said Medicare. I assume you mean Medicaid, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that, AG. I do not know
I think, Andrew, what's really, really important that we get clear is we are not going to have taxpayer dollars fund any kind of conversations that enhance abortion services to women, period. Morgan?
So those abortion services, would these clinics technically be able to reclassify a procedure as something else and potentially get away with it? Or would those claims be able to track it a different way other than under abortion?
So I think the Attorney General is probably better equipped to talk about that legally, but what I would say is if they did attempt to do that, that's flat out fraud. So let's hope that that does not occur.
Yeah, and to be clear, the Medicaid dollars, just to clarify, it's not as if we're saying Medicaid dollars currently can't go to abortion specifically. This is really an indirect funding, so they can't go to abortion providers. And so how for any other service, so however it's classified is sort of not the primary issue here. The issue is, are they a provider that's approved by DHHS? And I think what we're saying is under this executive order, under existing rules, given what's happened in other states and some things I referenced before to Andrew, that they will no longer be an approved provider. So it won't be about classifying any one service one way or another way, if that makes sense. So it's not about directly funding a specific service. It's just, can they be a provider under Medicaid at all?
A lot of people rely on services. They go to Planned Parenthood and they get services from there. They rely on Planned Parenthood for those. What is your message to those people who have to go to Planned Parenthood for these abundance of other services besides abortion?
So the question is, what are the options for women who have gone to Planned Parenthood?
And what is your message to them who
Yeah.
think that they might have to move somewhere else now?
Yeah, picture tells 1,000 words. Don't need to talk about it. Here's a picture of extraordinary clinics and services across the great state of Nebraska to provide adequate and tremendous services for women and their babies.
Oh, did you have something?
Zach, you got
Is that
something?
John?
Go ahead.
Is that John?
Yeah,
John, your question was for women who have to go to Planned Parenthood, and I would say, based on what the governor just showed you, the map of all of the service locations across the great state of Nebraska, there are a lot of clinics, many of which offer sliding scale based on income for women. Women don't have to go to Planned Parenthood, and we're grateful for that in Nebraska.
And I would say too, we have some great video journalists here. There's been some good print coverage of these Planned Parenthood providers. I would encourage the video journalists here to actually maybe get to some of these viewers a different way and help educate them on some of the really significant issues. Again, this premise that Planned Parenthood is the place to get high quality care for women, I think it's been really, I mean, I never have agreed with that, but I think in the public's consciousness, when they see the public reporting about what's happened at these facilities, I think a lot of people will no longer agree with that, whether they agree with this particular decision or not. So I would just encourage some of the video journalists here to think about doing some coverage on that to make sure that that gets out.
Senator Holcroft in particular has been looking at the quality of care at these clinics as well as the oversight that DHHS provides to them. Are any of you anticipating any additional legislation in 2026, or is DHHS changing how it oversees these clinics at all in the near future?
Well, I can answer from my seat in regard to other legislation this year, the answer would be no. And I'd let the director speak to assessing the clinics.
And Zach, right? Zach, so I think the answer has already been given by the Attorney General, which is basically we're shutting off the flow of taxpayer dollars. The state is shutting off the flow of taxpayer dollars to any clinic that would provide direct or indirect services around abortion. So it's just a matter of they're not going to be providing services through state dollars, through Medicaid.
You'll still be continuing oversight as CEO of DHHS in your department as well?
Until the governor makes that change, I serve at his goodwill and pleasure. Yes, sir.
Andrew?
I know Attorney General said that Planned Parenthood isn't mentioned in the executive order. Does this affect any clinics that aren't Planned Parenthood, or how many does this affect in Nebraska?
I think it's the only abortion providers in the state are Planned Parenthood clinics, right?
Yeah, I think what's fair to say, so Andrew's question is, are there other clinics? Well, if Director Corsi's team finds other clinics somewhere in Nebraska that are providing abortion services, yeah, they will be defunded. No Medicaid funds to them. Yes.
Governor Pillen, Virginia has released money for SNAP. Why are we focused on abortions right now when Nebraska children that rely on SNAP are going hungry?
Yeah, well, there's a couple things that I appreciate the question about SNAP and why are we, well, we're focused on all aspects of life and dignity. And what we're prepared, number one, I think it's really important, we are the 8th lowest state in terms of SNAP benefits. So we, the people in Nebraska, and the economy in Nebraska is extraordinary. People are having great work, and so we're the 8th lowest group, number one. Number two, what we'll be prepared for is working. I've been talking to Nebraskans all across the land. If the federal government doesn't do their job and get the SNAP benefits out, what are we going to do in Nebraska? Well, we're going to do what we used to do. I'm long enough in the tooth where we took care of our neighbors. When neighbors, before government got into this business, we knew who needed help. We helped each other. We lifted people up, we got them jobs, and didn't keep them in isolation. So that's what will take place in Nebraska for the SNAP benefits. Nobody's going to go hungry. We have extraordinary services from food pantries to engaged churches and services across the state. Every community is already reaching out and figuring out how they're going to help their neighbors. The other thing that is important is if it goes on however many more days, we, the state, will take care of moms and babies. So the WIC payments will come through, and we, the state, will do that, and that'll be about $100,000 a year or a day, so about $3 million a month. So that's the plan there.
Unrelated follow-up question, why have we not gotten a half-staff order for the passing of Dick Cheney?
I'm sorry.
Why have we not gotten a half-staff flag order after the passing of Dick Cheney?
It's a great question. Been really, really busy, and certainly said a prayer for Vice President Cheney and his family, but that fell through the cracks on this one. Thank you. John?
This is also unrelated, but are there now migrants at the McCook facilities that would be happening later this week?
Yeah, thank you. The question is about the McCook facility. I actually visited with the mayor. If it wasn't last night, I think it was the night before. So our facility is operational. Phase 1, 200 detainees, and detainees started coming in, I think, Monday night. My expectation with everything we've been briefed on would be that the first phase, 200 detainees, that'll be full for sure before Thanksgiving, as detainees are coming in each day. The second phase is another 100 beds. There is work that just got approved for the bid with the federal government, and I would expect that the second phase will be ready in the first part of the new year. So it's operational, and we have detainees. We probably have 50, 60 detainees there as we speak. Zach?
Governor, yesterday the Attorney General addressed the ongoing negotiations for the tobacco tax compact with the Omaha Tribe, Nebraska. Could you tell us from your seat where those negotiations stand, and if you have any general comments on the Omaha Tribe, Nebraska moving forward with recreational and medicinal marijuana?
Yeah, well, I think that my position's crystal clear. I'm totally opposed to recreational marijuana. If the Omaha Tribe progresses to that extent, my view is really simple. There's not going to be Nebraskans going into the Omaha Tribe and buying recreational marijuana. We'll take whatever steps it is to keep our state in the values and keep that from happening. In terms of negotiation, I'm probably not into the mood of negotiation.
What are those steps? How would you enforce Nebraskans not being able to go onto the sovereign tribal land and purchase?
Yeah, I'll let the Attorney General speak in the legal parts of it, but we've had some early conversations. I'm not into speculation. If that time comes, we'll figure out the right way, and we'll obviously make sure we're doing it legally as well. Attorney?
Thanks, Governor. By the way, Andrew, I think I misspoke. I forgot about the Carhart facility. We had a number of people at our press conference yesterday where I said this. Zach, you weren't there, unfortunately, but I'll maybe reset the table for those of you who weren't there yesterday. because there's been some public reporting on the compact, I think has been a little not comprehensive enough to sort of, I think, describe what the facts on the ground are. These compacts between sovereigns, which it's the governor's ultimate decision, are arm's length negotiations that they can enter into or not enter into. And these contracts are entered into if they're good for both sovereigns. And what has been offered to the state of Nebraska from the Omaha tribe is basically the following. We would like 90% of the tax revenue that you currently collect. We have zero entitlement to that, but we'd like to have 90%, so hundreds of thousands of dollars. Number two, we're actually not going to give you anything in exchange because in other cases, there's a lot of compliance benefits or things that the state of Nebraska gets. That's number two. And number three, actually, what we are going to do is we're going to set up a system, both medicinal and recreational, to the extent they sell to non-citizens, that actually violate Nebraska law. And whether something's on tribal land or not on tribal land, putting aside what they may or may not be able to do selling to tribal members, if you are not a licensed dispensary or cultivator, you cannot operate in the medical marijuana world under current state statute, so that would be a violation of state law, and you certainly cannot do a recreational. And so to me, and hopefully to any well-meaning Nebraskans who look at that type of negotiating posture, that we would like 90% of your money, and all you're going to get is we're going to flaunt the laws of your sovereign and make your life more difficult because now you have enforcement issues, to John's question. You've got all of the mental health fallout. I mean, by the way, the data on marijuana over the last year is coming in weekly on how bad it is. Whether you're smoking it or vaping it, the increase in psychosis, the increase in neonatal issues, the increase in cardiovascular issues, it is a significant issue that Nebraska now has to pick up the cost. So it's the governor's decision. We will respond in writing after consultation, which we've had consultations, in writing to the Omaha tribe. I'm not going to do negotiations with them through the press, but I do think it's a helpful table setting exercise so that people understand that what has been offered to the state of Nebraska is a bad deal.
And just to follow up on that, to clarify for Nebraskans who are looking at the Omaha tribe's potential way for medicinal marijuana, who are looking at Colorado or Missouri, I mean, is there a difference between Nebraskans potentially going to the tribe or going right now to Missouri or Colorado?
Anyone who tries to go to the tribal lands to buy marijuana for any purpose does so at their own peril, and I would highly discourage them from doing that.
Is today's executive order, is it only about the funding? Is there any kind of disciplinary action that providers can face for providing abortions in Nebraska?
No, this executive order is exclusively about protecting Nebraska taxpayers' dollars from being used for abortion services. Morgan?
I'm sorry if you already answered this, but do you know how much tax dollars have gone into this? Do you have a number on that?
Yeah, it was asked, and we don't have that exact number, but we'll get it to you.
Are you
Thank
saying drafting the EO, or are you talking about abortion?
How many tax dollars have gone into?
Into the funding, yeah. The question is how many tax dollars have gone into the funding? Don't know that number, but from my seat, $1 is too much.
Okay, one more question. Sorry, one last question. Recently at a pachyderm meeting, there was a lot of online speculation following after you made a comment about not necessarily wanting new businesses and people being upset about budget shortfall and property taxes. Does this timing tax-wise, why focus on, say, this other than property taxes right now?
I'm sorry, say that again. What I said at a pachyderm luncheon?
There's been a lot of online buzz about you at the pachyderm meeting saying that you don't want any new businesses.
Oh, yeah, let me clarify. It's fascinating as your governor how things can get taken out of context. Just so you know, I mean, our focus is, first off, like all Nebraskans, making sure that we're helping all Nebraska businesses grow. Every Nebraska business, I've been everywhere for 5 years, every Nebraska I've been into, they want to grow in the state, they have great careers, and they need help getting people to come to Nebraska. So I've simply said the highest priority of economic development is helping our Nebraska businesses grow. Let me give you a couple examples. Number one, cattle. The cattle industry. We are number one in the United States of America today. We are number one. Texas, move over. You're number two now. We feed 6.5 million cattle. We process 9.5 million cattle. That business has grown. We were in Israel last week with Fiscal Ziegelbein from New Jersey, who owns the plant in Hastings, the only kosher beef plant that provides kosher beef to Israel in the United States. That plant will grow from going to 500 cattle a day to 1,200. As an example of growing local businesses, we have extraordinary breakthroughs within the ethanol industry. You might have seen where the Iowa Renewable Fuels 2 weeks ago waved the white flag and said, we've been #1 for 25 years. We're #2. Nebraska's #1. We've had dramatic breakthroughs with making sure that we can sequester carbon, CO2 capture from the ethanol plants, working with a company called Tallgrass. What's that mean? That means that our ethanol businesses will be doubling in size. We've been working day and night with public power and electricity so that we can grow. We are growing businesses, and we have about $25 billion worth of new businesses that we're working on to be able to take advantage of the bioeconomy. So when somebody wants to say we're not working on growing business, you know, that's political goober rhetoric that has no idea about the facts of what's going on in this incredible state. I only have one regret, or one wish. I wish I was your age so I could enjoy this for a long time, because the growth of Nebraska and our businesses and for the people's off the charts. Okay, thank you all for being here. Appreciate it a lot. Have a great day. Congrats. Steve, thanks. I love it.